the newest Fox News contributor. Karl, welcome to Brian and the Judge.
Judge, thank you so much. And I want to tell you, you were so kind to me the other morning. We were in the green room by only making me serve you coffee and get a Danish. And
right. I mean, the whole first year is not going to be fun, Karl.
It was so nice of you to stand when I walked in the room.
Well, because you have that guy who yells, oh yeah, as you come in the room.
Hey, Karl, first off, did you enjoy it the other night?
I did. I was really nervous at the beginning of the night, but it was fun. It was fun seeing it from the other side.
But the stuff, at one point, you're so passionate about it, I bet from many levels you forgot you were even on the air.
I tried to forget that I was on the air because it made me nervous.
That's the way it came across.
Which is really funny because, I wasn't nervous when I went on to do combat before in my other role, but now that I'm on the other side of the microphone, so to speak, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Karl, let me just ask you about what you saw the other night. It's clear that Senator McCain is going to be the nominee. It seems it anyway, unless the wheels totally come off. How big is this speech today to CPAC?
Well, first of all, the wheels could come off. They've come on and off several times for all the candidates. Now, I do think that he has a pretty commanding lead. He is well over halfway to the nomination. And so he does have a big lead. But yes, today's important. This group at CPAC, it's very young, tends to be young. It tends to be very passionate, very enthusiastic. And it is a crowd that clearly views him with a little bit of concern. Many of them in the room are revved up about bipartisan campaign finance reform or global warming or being too footsie with the Democrats on this or not voting for the Bush tax cuts. So it's going to be very important for John McCain to reassure them that there is a reason why he's got an 83% American Conservative Union rating and why he was drawn into politics by Ronald Reagan and remains animated by the ideals that Reagan stood for.
Well, Senator McCain's going to get up there, speak to conservatives today, but essentially he's already let it be known that I'm not going to pick up the phone and call Rush Limbaugh. I'm not going to pick up the phone and call James Dobson. If you were with the McCain camp, would you say that's a mistake?
I would say it was a mistake to telegraph what you are or are not going to do publicly. First of all, let's look at the step back for a minute and put this in context. John McCain today leads Barack Obama and Senator Clinton in the public opinion polls, and he's the only Republican to do so. The reason is because he unites conservatives and moderates inside the Republican Party and reaches across party lines to get independents and Democrats. That's a winning formula. What McCain needs to do, though, is to not simply leave it at a point of comfort. He needs to raise it to a level of passion. He needs to say, look, I am the guy who understands in this global fight against terrorism what we need to do. I'm the guy who has fought the lonely battle against spending excesses and led the fight in the Senate against earmarks, often to the detriment of my relationship with fellow senators. Now, I'm the guy who voted for Robertson Alito and will appoint judges like them.
You used the perfect word, I think, Karl, when you said passion. Can John McCain win the presidency without the passion in the belly of the base of the Republican Party?
No, but remember again, let's put this in context. Right now there is some enthusiasm for him among those people. Otherwise he wouldn't be winning. But does he have work to do? You bet he does. And the question is, does he recognize that he's got work to do? And is he going to go about doing it? Not by going out there and saying, here's what I am going to do or I'm not going to do to reassure Republicans and conservatives, but instead by talking about the things that will reassure them and acting in a way that publicly and privately reassures them.
Karl, let's just go briefly, if we could, to the other side. Hillary Clinton reveals, albeit a bit reluctantly and after the press had leaked it, that she loaned $5 million from her husband and her fortune to her campaign and has asked her senior staffers not to take pay for the next month. Is she in financial trouble?
Yeah. But look, that's the problem of this process that we've set in place. If you have 20-plus contests on one day, every candidate's in financial difficulty because the demands of you're fighting a national election. There were more states up on Super Tuesday that required candidates to spend money than there were battleground states at the end of the 2004 general election. So, of course, every candidate's going to run into financial difficulties. Now, hers, I think it was a gutsy call. Similar gutsy calls in the past have paid off for candidates. You may remember earlier this year, Senator McCain had to take a pretty gutsy act. You saw it in 2004, where John Kerry literally mortgaged his house, took out a second mortgage on the lovely house he has in Boston with Mrs. Hines, and it saved his campaign. So going out there and doing what she did was forced by the pace of the campaign and the necessity of staying in the contest, and it paid off for her last Tuesday night.
Karl, who do you think's winning that?
Look, she won more delegates in bigger states. I mean, he won more states, but he tended to win. I thought it was really interesting. He tended to win caucus states like North Dakota and Idaho and Alaska and Minnesota. And he also tended to win states that are deep red: Idaho, Alabama, Georgia.
Is that sort of moot because he could never carry those states in November?
Yeah, I think what happened there is Democrats in those states said, look, we're not concerned with electability. We want, we are the beleaguered minority in Idaho. We never have it. Last time we carried this state was 1964 in a presidential race, we Democrats. So Republicans are going to carry it this fall. Let me vote for the candidate who speaks to my aspirations, the most liberal candidate I can find. He sounds and acts and is the most liberal. Let me give vent to that. So in essence, the absence of the electability question in places like, Georgia and Alabama and Minnesota and Minnesota is a battleground state, but North Dakota and Utah and Idaho, these all caused, I think, Democrats there to just sort of give vent to their deepest.
Your block captains in the war on ignorance.
They are making America more secure.
It's Brian and the Judge.